make some comments. Because it's not going to be one comment, it's going to be multiple comments. When do I ever give you one comment? I want to make some comments on traveling, and specifically flying, and specifically airplane. I've definitely flown and fly more than most people. The bare feet on the plane. The bare feet on the plane. The bare feet in the airport. I've seen motherfuckers walk. First of all, let me just start off by saying, just because you bought a ticket doesn't mean that flying is not a privilege. For example, if the government did not convict you in court of being a terrorist and you're just suspected of being one, you can be put on a no-fly list without a trial, without any proof, without any convictions. That right there proves that flying is a privilege. It is not your fucking right. And this is going to turn into a whole thing about entitlement. But let me first start off by making it very clear to everybody. It's an airplane. It's a public place. It's not your living room. It's not your backyard. And it's definitely not your fucking pool. The grossest thing about it is you think the first thing that would motivate people not to treat an airplane like its room is the fact that it is probably one of the most filthy fucking places to be on this planet. You're in a metal tube in the fucking sky with all recycled air and zero ventilation. So what the fuck would compel you? Why are you better than everybody on the plane to take your fucking disgusting duct-taped fucking dad fucking sneakers off, rip your gross socks off? It's actually more women do it than men. I've seen it. And 9 times out of 10, it's women. I'll get into men in a minute. 9 times out of 10, it's women. They take their disgusting fucking feet off. They have their fucking disgusting toenails that are half painted. And, you know, you ever see women with those toenails and they're like, the toenail paint is coming off. Don't even paint them. Don't even paint them at that point. Take a fucking Clorox wipe and wipe it off. Go full way. Don't have that weird blotch of shit on your fucking toes, because that just shows me you haven't showered in a fucking week. And you want to take your disgusting, smelly fucking feet and you want to air them out on an airplane. It's not your fucking living room. And I've seen these people get up out of their seats, waddle their fat ass over to the bathroom. I saw a woman get up out of her fucking seat and walk towards the bathroom with bare feet. I don't know if any of you guys have ever been in an airplane bathroom. I'm pretty sure 99% of you have been. Piss stains on the fucking floor. Garbage in the sink. What the fuck is the matter with you? And you take your feet off? Let me tell you a little story about something that happened to me. And this was some fat hillbilly. Because as you guys will start to see, is I don't really jive with hillbillies. And I'm not saying people from the South. I'm not targeting a certain area of the country. That's not what I'm doing. I'm saying hillbillies because I live in New York and I've met some fucking hillbillies that live in New York. They're everywhere. It's a group of people. It's not geographical. And I don't fucking like them. So a little story here. I couldn't even tell you what airport. Probably San Francisco. I think San Francisco. I was flying somewhere. I don't remember. But that's unimportant. What is important is where everybody else was flying. And I know I'm just contradicting myself right now because I said it wasn't geographical. But, I mean, there's a lot of contradictions in a lot of shit that I say. Just pay close attention. And I got my flight. And all the gates next to me are fucking Idaho. They're fucking Louisiana. They're Alabama. They're Oklahoma. And I'm not attacking people from there because if I wanted to, I fucking would. But I don't know enough about people from there. What I do know is that a good percentage of hillbillies in this country reside in those areas. So I sit down, you know, the little chairs that you sit there and you wait, and at the gate. And I'm sitting there, and there's like a little row up against the window, facing the window, of 4 chairs. I'm on one end, and there's a little Asian lady on the other end, and there's 2 chairs in between us. Nobody should fucking... First of all, I'm not going to sit down next to the lady to save room. Nobody does that, okay? Everybody puts at least one fucking chair in between them. That's stalker shit. You sit right next to somebody. You sit right next to me, I'm going to smack the dog fuck out. I'm going to smack your lips off your fucking head because that freaks me out. Give me my space. If there's room elsewhere. I mean, me personally, I'm such a stickler about that. If there's one fucking seat left, I'm standing. I'm not sitting in between people. I'm not sitting in between fucking Aki Bono and fucking Rosie O'Donnell. I'm not doing it. I'll stand. I'd rather stand, thank you. But some people decide, you know what, it's an open chair, I'll sit down because they can't stand for 8 fucking minutes. Anyway. See, I go off the rails. I don't even remember where I was going. Oh, yeah, okay, there was a story. So I'm sitting there, there's an Asian lady, there's 4 chairs. Asian lady on the other end. I'm on one end. She's on the other end. There's 2 chairs in between us. These 2 hillbillies come. This fat hillbilly and his wife. He's wearing whatever the fuck. Some sort of those Jesus sandals with socks, which I don't know how people do that shit because you got to put that little thing in between your fucking toes and then... They take their socks off. They got fucking blisters on their toes because they don't know how to wear them. But that's besides the point. So I sit down, and the lady's over there. And the little Asian lady, she's got her bag on the thing next to her. Because obviously, she doesn't want anybody sitting next to her. So this hillbilly woman is just, I see her right away. I zero in. I see nothing else in the airport. I see this couple because I know. I have a sixth sense for issue people. I know people that are a problem. I can tell. It's just a vibe. It's an aura around them. They're walking in, her and her fat husband. And she starts saying, oh my God, this is ridiculous. There's nowhere for me to sit. I know my hillbilly impression is awful, but I'm not here to do impressions. Deal with it. And she turns and looks right at me. And then turns and looks at the little Asian lady, who's not bothering anybody. Sweet little Asian lady. Right here, there's 2 seats. And her and her husband come waddling over. Like fucking walking like happy feet. And without even saying a word to this fucking Asian lady, she takes her bag and she throws it off the chair and sits down. So she's sitting next to the Asian lady. I didn't put any bag on the seat next to me. And I wish if I can go back in time, I fucking wish I had a bag next to me. Because it would have given me carte blanche to act like an animal. I don't need carte blanche, but it's nicer that way. So she throws her bag. She sits down. So now her husband sits next to her, which is next to me. So I'm like, you know what? I got to get where I'm going. I gotta get where the fuck I'm going. I'm not gonna fucking fight with this guy. Which, of course, right before you're sitting down, I'm already calming myself down. Therefore, it's not gonna work. The littlest thing he clears his throat, I'm gonna blow. Sure enough, that fat piece of shit, he sits next to me. And I'm just bothered by him as just an individual, the way he dresses. I prejudge people. I just prejudged him the second I saw him. Sits next to me. Takes his fucking Jesus sandals off. Strike 1. Takes his fucking socks off. Strike 2. Props his bag up in front of him to use it, I guess, as like an ottoman. So he throws his disgusting cankles up on top of his fucking $28 fucking Walmart luggage with his bare feet. I look around. Everybody's violated. And thank God for everybody else in the airport that he sat next to me. Because I'm going to make it my problem. Even if they didn't feel violated. Because I did. But I'm holding on by a thread. And I know that it sounds like I'm like a postal person. I'm not like that. It's not that. It was him. I just knew when they walked in, the way she disrespected the Asian lady, the poor old Asian lady who's minding her own business. She just takes a pig, puts it on the floor, doesn't say a word to her, sits down. Just entitlement. She thought that Asian woman was doing something personal to her. So she's already a fucking whack job. Now she's on the phone doing all this talking shit about everybody in the airport, which I can relate because I do it very loud too when I'm not having a very nice travel experience so that everybody else can hear me and maybe act accordingly. So anyway, so I sit there and I'm just shaking my head. And every fiber of my being's telling me, listen, just get up. Just get up. Don't fucking deal with it. But it was a fucking long travel day, and I'm mouthing, motherfuck this, motherfuck that. And the guy's looking at me. I feel him. I feel him. Maybe it was the fact that his goiter hit me in my eye because it's a fat piece of shit. But anyway, he turns, he looks at me, and I feel his look. And I'm like, don't look at him. Don't look at him. And then I hear, everything all right? Part of me goes, oh, why did you do it to yourself? Another part of me was like, oh, this is going to be fucking delicious. No. This is fucking insane. What am I doing? I'm recording this. What time is it? It's fucking 2:30 in the morning. I'm fucking recording this. And I really hope my neighbors can't hear me because this is fucking, I'll be put on the no-fly list. Anyway, because there's no context to the story if you just hear me going, no. I sound like I'm on meth and I think I'm the Cookie Monster. But aside from that, I said, yeah, there is a problem. I said, your wife took that bag, threw it off a chair without any provocation, and then you take your fucking stinky feet and you throw them on your fucking luggage like there's nobody else in the airport. This guy doesn't say a word. Right away, his wife. You can't talk to my husband like that. We're flying because there is a funeral and there's a death in the family. Now I have ammunition. Her mistake. Like I wasn't going to comment on the death. Like I have couth. You already see I have no couth. I have nothing to lose. So I said, well, I don't give a shit about the funeral you're going to because I didn't know the person. Do you want me to stand here and cry about it? I said to him, you better tell that bitch to shut the fuck up. Now the problem with that is I gave him no out. Because now he's gotta fucking say something. Because, anybody would. Whatever she is, his wife or his sister, or, if he's from Alabama, maybe both. What a cheap line, right? I didn't mean, that's a cheap fucking line. It's such an easy thing, the incest southern line, but fuck it. Whatever, who am I here to impress? I'm not trying to be a fucking comedian. So now he jumps up. He goes, you can't talk to her like that. So I get up and I'm like, well, what are we going to do? Because I'm not going to sit here. I'm not going to have a fucking verbal spat with you. So TSA, they come fucking swarming. And, they're breaking us up. Blah, 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 blah. They're telling me, listen, I understand. Because they pull me aside. And then they pull them aside. And everybody's obviously siding with me because they saw how much of an animal this lady with her self-entitlement took this fucking Asian lady's bag, just threw it on the floor. And then he throws his feet up, his fucking stinky feet. And they wonder why nobody treats them with fucking respect. It's just the aura that they had. So TSA tells us, listen, we understand other passengers already complained, blah, 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 which I think you were just saying that to placate me because there was no time for other passengers to complain. So I was very calm. I told him, I said, listen, I said, I'm not going to do anything. I'm just like, keep him the fuck away from me. Keep his wife the fuck away from me. I said, are they on my flight? And he said, I don't know. I said, find out if they're on my fucking flight because I can't make you any promises. But they didn't find out they were on the flight. They ended up not being on my flight. It was very quick, and they ended up actually. The fucking best part is the fucking idiots were at the wrong gate. So because I think I was flying in New York, and I wasn't flying any fucking hillbilly fucking hot spots. But the moral of the story is, it's the sense of self-entitlement, and it's the people just treating public areas like it's their house. It's not your fucking house. And if you and not everybody's like me, but I'm going to make that abundantly clear to you that it's not your home. It's disgusting. What you're doing is disgusting, and you're harming yourself. Do you know how much bacteria? First of all, here's a little travel tip. I'm going to give you guys some fucking travel tips. Because not only do I want this podcast just to be my take on shit, I want people to learn stuff because I do a lot of research, believe it or not. I have a lot of fucking free time on my hands. There is literally probably 2 or 3 things on this planet that is more volatile than airplane water. Probably only 2 or 3 things. Not volatile, it's the wrong word. Vile. That is more vile than airplane water. Airplane water, out of the sink, obviously not the water bottles, out of the sink. If you're on an airplane, don't ever drink water out of a cup. They do that on a lot of short flights. They do that on a lot of regional flights, on a lot of smaller jets. Usually the longer flights, they have water bottles or they give coach the fucking glasses of water or whatever. Don't fucking drink it. And you want to know the worst part is? All the flight attendants are told about this. They know how disgusting it is. You will never see a fucking flight attendant sit down and drink the same water that you're drinking. 99% of the time, they have their own water bottles that they bring. Airplane water to the airplane sink, they never fucking clean those reservoirs at all. They don't have time. They're overturning flights. I can, once I get my Instagram back up and running, I'm going to give you guys links to fucking articles and stuff to back up everything I'm saying. Because I believe that's very important. I don't like people just taking my word for shit. I want you guys to read what I read so you can be informed on the issue and know for a fact that I'm not just some fucking jerk off sitting in my garage making this up. This is a fact. Airplane water is some of the most vile shit that you can consume. So just keep that in mind for any time you travel, how disgusting that shit is. Another thing. I've had a lot of friends that fly and blah, 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 blah. Long story short, I didn't live on the East Coast for a while. I lived in the West Coast just because I had to get out of here for a little bit. And I lived on the West Coast for about a year. I had friends come visit, or I would come home and visit. Most of the time that I even had somebody visit, not even that I flew, that I even had somebody visit, I got sick. Because you're flying in a fucking incubator for 6.5 hours. That's all it is. It's a flying petri dish. That's it. That's all it is. Those fucking airborne pills that they sell at the airport, I don't know if they work. I imagine they fucking don't. But, I mean, one time I fucking was on the flight, and I would say more than 50% of the time, that's a high rate. More than 50% of the time I fly, I get off the flight, next couple of days I'm sick. I'm hocking up loogies for 2 fucking weeks. I'm on the shelf. Like, for example, one time I was on the flight, I'm relaxed, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to behave this flight. I'm going to relax. I'm going to put my hands behind my head. I don't recline. I do not recline on the flight. Okay, well, let's veer off the path a little bit. Time for me to light up a fucking cigarette. Let me tell you something else about flying. So when you fly, look at this. I'm breaking shit and everything. This is a fucking flimsy table. There is no fucking reason for you to recline because it doesn't even recline. So all reclining is not worth the possible altercations that can ensue from reclining your seat. It doesn't recline at all. I mean, they're making the leg room smaller and smaller and smaller on these flights so they can pack more of us in like animals, like fucking sardines, because each seat is money. It's all money. So you're going to lose leg room like a motherfucker. It needs to be addressed. I don't know if the FAA or whoever can step in, but I'm pretty sure if I know business, the FAA is getting some envelopes from the fucking airlines, because I know for a fact the politicians are getting envelopes from the airlines. I know for a fact the politicians are getting an envelope for fucking Boeing, because talk about that new Boeing jet that went down. I believe there were 2 or 3 crashes and everybody discontinued them except for us, because they're an American company and our politicians are bought and paid for by them, and they're also publicly traded, and they didn't want to hurt the stock price. That's the only fucking reason they weren't discontinued here. Not because, oh, they're safe. Give me a fucking break. Who wouldn't just discontinue them just in case? And then I think after public pressure, they ended up discontinuing them temporarily, just in case, because, I mean, goddamn, if there was a fucking crash, it's their ass. Anyway, I don't recline on the fucking plane. And there's no reason for you to either, because it does more to impede the passenger behind you than it does for your comfort level. So the reclining is so fucking minimal, there's no difference. But it destroys the motherfucker behind you's flying experience. I mean, his tray table's all fucked up now. He can't even fucking open it. He can't have a fucking water bottle that's more than 8 inches in fucking height, because your seat's all the way back. But you don't even feel it when you recline. This is not worth it. And if a motherfucker puts knee guards down, I don't know if you know what those are, but there's some shit that you can install to the tray table, and it prevents the person in front of you from reclining, which is kind of hilarious. If somebody put those down on me, I wouldn't even give a fuck, because I don't recline. I understand it's a long flight, you want to recline, but next time you go on a plane, just recline for a little bit and tell me if it's really worth fucking up the guy's flying experience behind you, because I know for a fact that when the person in front of me starts fucking reclining and they're fucking exhaling like it's the greatest thing that ever happened in their fucking $180 coach seat, I flutter. My heart flutters. My vision gets blurry, and I start to sweat, and I start to get angry at this person. I start to get angry at this person's parents. I start to hope that their parents get chemically castrated. It drives me insane. It drives me fucking crazy, because your joy, your comfort level hardly fucking rises. Even if it rises 3%. You're decreasing my comfort level by fucking 50. So stop reclining on the airplane. There is no fucking reason for it. It does nothing, has no effect. So anyway, back to my original story about being sick on the airplane, is that I put my hands behind my head, like how they sleep in the commercials sometimes or whatever. Like you got like your fucking like you're doing the Macarena type shit, like that part of the Macarena, you put your hands behind your head, I guess. Is it the Macarena, the Hokey Pokey? Who the fuck knows? One of those songs. Achoo! Fucking guy behind me sneezes all over my hands. Old fucking guy. It got to the point where I was like, this didn't happen. Denial for a few milliseconds. Pure denial. And then I start thinking, did this guy fucking aim at me? Because I got screws loose. Like, I'm not going to tell you at all. Because I'm thinking this guy, like, there's a problem. Like, do I owe him money? What the fuck's going on? Why would he aim at me like that? Did nothing to him. And I just pulled my hands down and I knew right away, okay, the incubation period for a cold is about 2 days. So I'll start hocking up loogies in about 2 days. And I'll be sick as a dog because of this piece of shit behind me. I have to know what he looks like. I turn around and I just look at him and he's reading and he glances up at me and I'm staring a hole through this guy. Glances up for a millisecond, glances right back down at his paper, puts that shit right, like in the movies, like puts it right over his face. And I'm just mouthing, motherfuck. I just motherfucked him to death in my head. But he was an old guy, and I think he fucked up. I mean, what's he going to do? Be like, oh, I'm sorry that I sneezed all over you? No, he's going to sit there and deny it or blame it on the douchebag next to him. But the moral of the story is about traveling is it's disgusting. And I don't know if anybody's an expert on flying or travel, but if anybody can let me know why the fuck flying dehydrates you, let me. I get off the fucking plane and I'm like fucking, I'm like SpongeBob when Sandy took all the fucking water out of her house or the water out of that fucking fishbowl he was wearing on his head. I need it. That's every time I get off the fucking flight. No matter how much water I drink, anything, I come off of the flight, I am fucking dry as a bone. But long story short, flying is fucking unsanitary. You need to take those tips and please don't treat it like your living room. Because God forbid you come across a person who's a seasoned flyer like me. At the very least, you're being severely judged in that person's head.